What's up, Bengals fans? Welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk on a Tuesday night. It's 11/11. Make a wish. I bet it was about DJ Reader. I'm James Rapine. He's Andrew Fox Miller. This is Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And, well, right before we went live, and I posted in the live chat, going live in 3, 2, Andrew was putting eye drops in. So make sure you get your LASIK, all those contact wearers out there like me, because you don't have to mess with the eye drops. $1,100 off. I just put the link in the live chat. All right, enough of that.
James, I'll pin
enough
it.
of that.
I will pin it.
Enough of that. But DJ Reader, this is gut check time for the Cincinnati Bengals, one way or the other. And maybe the other is the way, because he's set to visit the Detroit Lions. Shout out to Malik Wright. He was the first one to mention that. I was able to confirm that through multiple league sources. And Detroit has been in on DJ Reader really from the jump, from the start of free agency. And I think there's a lot of interest. You think about Detroit, how they're set up. They have Aiden Hutchinson on the edge. DJ Reader makes a ton of sense in the middle of that defense. So I get that. I understand it. And that's why the interest is there. And as far as a visit, why he's visiting, because clearly when you look at the defensive tackle market, DJ Reader is the best available option remaining on the market. And so to me, the Lions, it's not about the money. The money is there. And all they want to do is say, hey, DJ, we're going to give you this contract. We just want our doctors to look at you. Can you come in for a visit? And so now the pressure's on the Bengals. That's what I think this is. I think DJ would prefer to stay in Cincinnati. I also think that the Detroit Lions are offering him certainly a lot of money. And I wonder about the years and all of those things. Earlier this week, I was talking to multiple people, and are the Bengals offering 2 years? I think so. I think they did offer him a 2-year deal. Would the Lions go to 3? Is the third year dependent on everything? Because a lot of those 3-year deals in free agency, the first 2 are you're going to be there for 2. And then the third one, you might get cut. And maybe Reader wants the assurances to make sure that he will be wherever he goes, whether it's here or elsewhere, he will get 2 years, which I totally get coming off of the torn quad tendon. But the Lions want to look at him. And so he can use that as leverage to get his extension with the Bengals, or maybe he ends up actually getting on the flight. And I think that's the key. Jordan Schultz was the one to report. I didn't get the exact time. Thursday is when Reader is supposed to visit the Lions. Makes sense. The new league year doesn't start until Wednesday at 4 Eastern. Could visit tomorrow, but you could also spend all day at the facility on Thursday. So if you're the Bengals, you're probably looking at a flight on Wednesday evening at some point to Detroit. Obviously, it's a short drive, but I think that they would make the trouble, at least, of go through the trouble of flying DJ Reader in, because like I said, he's the top defensive tackle left on the market. And so who will land him? I think it could be those 2 teams. I think the Titans could be in the mix as well. They're spending a lot of money, but the Detroit Lions feel like the number one contender outside of the Bengals, of course, to poach DJ Reader and to get him out of Cincinnati.
I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, first of all, just to quickly add context.
Mm-hmm.
I was paying attention to alerts all day. I was being a good soldier, James. I was. And then I'm getting a text message right on time if we compare it to yesterday, close to 11 p.m. All hands on deck. Let's do this live. So first of all, thanks everyone for joining. Second of all, I'm getting caught up. I'm getting up to speed myself. I'm reading these comments. I will say that we talked about it, James, you and I, especially through like Enter the Jungle, where, hey, wouldn't it be nice if they re-signed DJ Reader? But also, wouldn't it be nice? Look at all these other defensive tackles out there. Wouldn't it be great if they got them? How about the draft? And then this market goes crazy. Mm-hmm. And now we're sitting there thinking, and I imagine the Bengals are thinking the same thing. Hey, even though DJ Reader, like to your point, is currently recovering from a major injury, thinking, wouldn't it be great if we could get him and just kind of have him available, but then also get some sort of a plug and play type person, a draft pick, whatever. Now we're looking at DJ Reader like he is the guy that we need to get. I know he's not, but you know what I mean? Like he is still in all, for all intents and purposes, he's the guy. He's flying to Detroit. Like I don't know. I'm trying to process this is what I'm saying.
Sure. It's tough for a couple of reasons. One, he's such a big part of what they do. Two, and I've seen a couple comments. Oh, draft. There's no DJ Reader. None of them. Your favorite defensive tackle, whoever it is, Johnny Newton, Byron Murphy. You want to go to the actual DJ Reader nose tackle type, T'Vondre Sweat. None of those guys are DJ Reader right now. Maybe they will be. DJ Reader wasn't DJ Reader right away. It takes time at defensive tackle. Unless you're talking about the high end. Yeah, he does. He eats, Reggie, you're right. He eats double teams like it's a McDonald's double cheeseburger and his name's Chad Ochocinco. No onion. It's that simple. So DJ Reader is a problem. And that's why the Lions want him. And that's why he has the market he has, even with this injury. And I think that there's a couple of things here. One, if he never suffered the injury, I think he would have already gotten offered some crazy money that the Bengals wouldn't have matched.
Priced out of Cincinnati, no doubt.
Yeah, because he probably would have gotten 3 for $60. Like it would have been really high because the defensive tackle market's high. Instead, I think you're in like the 345 range, and it could be anywhere from 40 to 45. I think it will be more than Grover Stewart. Grover Stewart got 3 for 39. He's a better player than Grover Stewart. There's no way I would take that. So I think Detroit, whatever they're offering, it's enough to get DJ on the plane. And what DJ is doing now is saying, all right, I'm going to take this visit. There's a reason this came out, right? There's a reason that Malik had it, and it wasn't hard. I sent a couple texts like, hey, is DJ visiting Detroit? Yes. Like with it instantly. Why is it out? It's pretty simple. It's a leverage play to a degree. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to go to Detroit, but it's okay. Are you going to let me get on the flight? And I will say this, there's been times this offseason, like I'm not going to go down the path too long. Some of you might know if you pay really close attention, where that person that the Bengals wanted to keep, keyword is person, was going to get on a flight and the Bengals didn't let them. Will they let DJ Reader? Because if so, if the medicals check out, I imagine he'll become a member of the Detroit Lions. I don't think he'll take another visit. I don't think he'll go all around the country. No, I think it'll be that simple. And so the moment he gets on that plane, you got to be comfortable with that. And maybe the Bengals are. That's the other element here, is maybe they say, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get T.R. Tart in a market that's booming. We're going to go after T.R. Tart. We're going to go after some of these other guys that we like in the defensive line room. I could see that. But, man, doing that is certainly risky. And we do know, and I want to pull up the report, they were in on Malcolm Roach today, and it was Chris Thomason from the Denver Gazette that said that the Bengals were one of the teams in on Malcolm Roach. He signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Broncos. The Rams, Cardinals, Bills were also interested along with the Bengals, and that's a nose tackle. So I wonder what the reason was there. Was it just to bolster the defensive line room? Makes sense. Or was it DJ Reader insurance, Andrew? I do think that part is interesting, but DJ is clearly, when healthy, the number one defensive tackle left on the market. And so he's pushing that age 30. He'll be 30 on July 1st. We know how the Bengals are against their ageist, and it's worked well in free agency for them, certainly in recent years. They don't want to sign people like me, 32 years old, that I'm ancient. And so with DJ Reader, I think it's interesting. And I think it could come down to obviously guaranteed money. We always talk about that. And then the other part is 3 years. And I could certainly see the Lions offering 3 years to DJ Reader to get him to go to Detroit.
I don't know what to say, James. Like I'm beside myself. Like here's the thing. I don't even know that I ever went, like even day 2. We'll call it day 2, right?
Yeah, it's day 2. We're still day 2.
We're on the fringe. Well, it's technically day 2. I don't even know that I sat back and go, they got this. DJ Reader's coming back. I never felt that way. But at the same time, this exact situation is not what I anticipated, if that makes any sense. Like I didn't think about, I heard Detroit. We heard this yesterday, right? Like that they were interested. We knew that much from all the reports that were going out there.
Yeah, they've been interested. I'll say that. They've been interested for a while.
I didn't think that we'd be in a situation where we're begging DJ Reader to not get on a plane to Detroit. I thought, like, if anything, like, we'd find out the news before we even knew that much, if that makes any sense.
I think what happened, Justin Madubuike gets a deal before free agency begins, right? Chris Jones gets a deal before free agency begins. And it felt like he was going to with Kansas City. And so Christian Wilkins shoots up the board. And suddenly you look and you're like, all right, well, these defensive tackles, you got to go get them. And the defensive tackle market is just much heavier and is going faster and at a higher rate than people realized. Even a Grover Stewart, everyone seems to be getting more than you anticipated. And not just defensive tackle, but certainly defensive tackle.
Yes.
And so that's perfect for DJ Reader, because my mindset going into this free agency period with Reader was, I think he's going to have kind of a cool market where teams are going to be interested, but it's a quad tendon tear. It happened in December. That's really tough to get a gauge on this early. I mean, it happened less than 3 months ago. And yet I think it's a couple of things. One, the NFL has seen him overcome it. Two, he's clearly so dominant when healthy that even if he's like 95% and he never gets fully back to the guy pre-injury that he was, even if you're getting 95% in year one and then 85% in year two, and then it drops a little bit in year three, those first 2 years are going to be worth it, because what he does is so rare. And Detroit, they obviously want to win now. The Bengals want to win now. The teams that are going after him, the Titans are trying to establish a winning culture right now and win. And heck, even the other teams that I heard were interested, the Browns, they signed a bunch of defensive linemen today. The Texans, they added Danielle Hunter today, which bolstering their pass rush with Will Anderson. That's a pretty good addition, right? So they were focused on defensive line help. And so Reader, he's getting all of this attention from teams that are trying to win quick, or in the Titan situation, trying to build a winner quickly. And so it's interesting to see how it'll play out. I will say this, TR Tart is someone I could totally see the Bengals working on right now. Like, it would not shock me if they're like, okay, this is what we know DJ Reader wise. What can we get TR Tart for? And then go from there. And I think that's why it's been slow today, is because the offensive tackle market hasn't moved much across the league.
For sure.
In the defensive tackle market, we know the Bengals are in on it because they're talking with Reader. They're obviously talking with Malcolm Roach, according to that report. I know they're talking with Reader. And so it's thin at DT, but there are options, and we'll see what they do.
I mean, there's all kinds of analogies out there, but the one that sticks out to me is, like, to your point, like when you talk about DJ Reader, and like I envision, I have no inside knowledge, obviously, but from the conversations we've had live on shows, off record, so to speak, I envision a scenario where the Bengals are putting a lot of energy into maintaining, re-signing DJ Reader, because of the fact, like you said, with the offensive tackle, that market being fairly, I don't want to say stagnant, but there's certainly no rush, right? It's like when you have certain debts in life and you just want to pay the higher interest off quickly so you can move on to the bigger situation at hand. And I feel like in this scenario, they're going to spend their time putting that energy into, I don't want to say the low-hanging fruit. It's a really bad way to put it, but DJ Reader is we know Bengals like to re-sign their guys, right? DJ Reader is a position they desperately need, and it's a guy that they could maintain the locker room, the culture. I can only imagine that they're putting all that energy into him right now, knowing that we'll get to offensive tackle. It seems like the rest of the league is not sweating it currently to where we're panicking, and now he's on a plane to Detroit. I don't know.
And he's not on, if you're just joining us, he is not on the plane to Detroit.
I know. I'm saying that figuratively. My apologies.
No, I know you are, but I'm just being clear to everyone.
Yes.
But if you are just joining us, DJ Reader does have a visit scheduled with the Detroit Lions, and that I can confirm. It's scheduled for Thursday, according to Jordan Schultz. And so it will be interesting to see if he gets on the plane. Because if you're the Bengals, you don't want him to get on the plane. It is very Ross Rachel 2004 Friends. If you get that reference, awesome. If not, you're probably too young and should go watch HBO Max. I think it's just Max now, which obviously, Friends is an awesome show. So did he get on the plane? Did he not get on the plane? That's what we're going to be saying probably tomorrow. And they could fly. It's such a short flight. Heck, he could drive tomorrow. I don't know exactly how it'll work.
Yeah.
But I do know this. He's been working out at the Bengals facilities. I do think he wants to stay in Cincinnati. I also think that the Lions are very serious about getting him. And that's why this comes out. And the Bengals, by the way, they have, because I can feel it, and I haven't looked at a bunch of the comments, even though they're scrolling right here. And thanks to everyone for tuning in and commenting. I love it. It's great. But I can feel the pessimism. I just know it will be. There's been times when the Bengals have went and got it. Like when it's been on the line. I'll give you one. Trey Hendrickson. A few years ago, when they signed Trey Hendrickson, they were negotiating with Trey Hendrickson, negotiating with Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson goes to the Jets, and instantly they said, all right, let's get Trey done now. He's our guy. How do we get it done? And they went and got it done. And they were willing to go that extra step to get it done that night. And I remember recording with Jake for Locked On and Instant Reaction and all of those things. And so the Bengals have that ability. The question is, and they've done it, so there's history there. The question is, it's different when you're going after Trey Hendrickson, second contract in the NFL, coming off of one of his best seasons, versus 29, soon to be 30-year-old DJ Reader, rehabbing from a very serious injury for the second time in his career. He's been hurt and missed significant time in 3 out of his 4 seasons in Cincinnati. It's just true. And so I think that's challenging. I think the front office is struggling to get over that. And so if that's the case, and this goes to the next part, what is the backup plan? If they're not going to do what it takes to keep him from getting on the plane, what's the backup plan? And I'll tell you right now, it can't be draft, because it's really, really hard. There's maybe one. I'm serious about it. Maybe one defensive tackle that the Bengals would consider at 18. One. And that's Byron Murphy from Texas. Not Johnny Newton. Doesn't mean he's not a first rounder. I don't think he's getting first round consideration in the top 20 from anyone in the league. Could be wrong. Maybe it changes with the medicals and what happens in Illinois. The point is, it's going to be tough to stabilize the interior of this defensive front with rookies. And so to me, the Tier Tart combo, and I saw a comment here. I started.
I think
here we go.
One of those.
This right here. The Tier Tart Sheldon Rankins.
Right.
I'm going to tell you why I think it could work and why they might do it and why they might be a little leery. Tier Tart, first off, they claim Tier Tart after DJ Reader got hurt. They clearly like him. He's still out there. I think he's the best nose, not named DJ Reader, best nose tackle available. So it makes a lot of sense that they would pivot and go to him. He's only 27 years old. He also wanted a new contract in Tennessee. The culture was weird there, got cut when the Bengals put a claim in on him. The Texans landed him. He didn't play a ton in Houston, and I haven't heard much about his market, so I just don't know what it is. You know, he was a really, really good player for his first 3 years. This past year got weird in Tennessee. He didn't do much in Houston, and so I'm not sure what his market would be, but that would be the guy, an ideal fit to help replace Reader. And so then you'd have B.J. Hill, you'd have Tier Tart, and then do you want to go after a Sheldon Rankins, a guy who's 30, that they would have to go against from an age standpoint, but does fit the 3-tech pass rush interior guy with some juice that can get after the quarterback. And so now you would have Tart, Hill, Rankins. I could live with that. And I wonder if the Bengals are viewing it that way, because let's say you have to pay Tart and Rankins $17 million per year, 3 years apiece, but DJ Reader is going to get $15 million per year for 3 years. That's what the Bengals front office needs to decide. And I'm sure they're working through it, and they're miles ahead of where I'm at right now. But figuring out that plan, those two guys stand out the most to me as obvious solutions to the Bengals issues, especially if they lose DJ Reader or if they're hesitant to give him a 3-year contract or whatever the case is. And I'm speculating. I don't know if that's the difference. It could be guaranteed money. It could be because the Lions are offering him $20 million a year. I don't know. I don't know the exact particulars. DJ, if you want to call me and let me know, I would certainly love that. I'll DM you my number.
I mean, to your point, by the way, I mean, speaking of this comment here, we know, obviously, DJ Reader reads comments on Twitter/X. Anyone that watches our channel should know that, because we put up that locker room interview with DJ where he called everybody
you
out.
saw that here.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
that happened here. And to the extent that you said you call him up, like, I mean, if he's reading things, like, maybe he'd be responsive. Like, maybe he'd be responsive to me DMing him, like, hey, this guy's not media, but like, look at Cincinnati Bengals stock. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a wild take. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. I do want to pivot quickly, because I know we didn't plan on doing a full half hour, but it sounds like we're at least going to do that at this point.
Easily.
I do want to wrap up some of the DJ talk, because there's a few good points here. So one, he reads the comments on X. Yes, I agree. And of course, I put that video out there by editing it. James was out there recording that video, of course. I feel like this could be said for just about anybody, but we talk about, say, the state of free agency at this point, and I feel like we run into this mindset, this scenario, some may say roadblock, when it comes to the Bengals' approach to free agency. What are we saving our money for? And we do wonder that, right? It gets to that point, especially on day 2. I feel like it's a hot topic.
Well, it's tough to say that, because you just don't know the other side of it. Like, they could get Reader done in 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't take, or early tomorrow. They could get a deal done with the right tackle that you're hoping for tomorrow. They could go after a corner in Kendall Fuller, who I could see that happening with. You know, like, there are plenty of scenarios where they're adding to the roster still. I mean, I just mentioned Tartan Rankins. I mean, you might have to go 10 for one and 8 for another. The market is what it is right now. And so, as far as spending money, I think they're going to spend it. The key to me is making sure you maximize it. And that's a real debate with DJ. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the Bengals should give DJ whatever he wants. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. I just said, all you have to do is say it out loud. He's almost 30. He's coming off of a very serious injury, and he's rehabbing it, and we'll see. I'm not saying they shouldn't pay him, but this idea that it's, well, you just got to pay him. Well, no, there is a max. And I really never operate that way. I might operate that way with Joe Burrow, and you still negotiate. You don't just got to pay him. You structure it a certain way. You get the same thing with Jamar Chase, right? And so with DJ Reader, you want to be smart about it. But to your point, and to everybody's point, expectations are high for the Bengals, and they need to spend. And, you know, they have roughly, and I have to look exactly, roughly $30 million in cap space remaining, for those wondering. And it'll be less than that, because they'll save some for the Chase extension, because they'll want to give him some money this year and try to spread that out. They'll save some money. I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, the Evan McPherson extension. No, they won't have to save much money for that. Although kickers are starting to get paid, and I do think they could extend him.
Yeah, don't speak that into existence.
What? No, they're going to sign him.
No. I want that. I'm just saying, like, you said that, and then my brain, you know, it's just my natural anxiety in life. I'm like, oh, like, that'll be the year that the kicker market's insane.
Oh no, it's fine. And who knows if they actually extend him this offseason. But the Justin Jefferson stuff is so funny. We're saving our money for Justin Jefferson.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was.
It's a ton of comments, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna flash some of that up. By the way, I don't even know why I'm spending time on this. It's just I said the phrase "I'm not media." What I mean by that is I don't have access to the team. I personally don't regularly have access to the team. It's not like it's not like I've never had access, but that's what I meant by that. I don't even know what this means. So, okay. Anyway, Justin Jefferson, I saved so many of these, and some of these people are probably not even watching any longer, but let's throw them up. And some of them are current. This is like beginning of the stream. So credit due here. Please tell me you're on this Justin Jefferson talk.
No,
I'm
going to spend 10 seconds on that. So we're gonna
please.
move on. Ready?
And I'll flash up comments as you do.
If the Bengals wanted to land Justin Jefferson and get serious consideration from Minnesota, it would take T. If Minnesota wanted T T 18, next year's 1. I'll say it again because I'm seeing these seconds and thirds. T Higgins,
Right.
the 18th pick this year and next year's first rounder. And you might get the Vikings. You might get the Vikings to not hang up Red. Other than that,
by the way, you're still trying to figure out how to structure that contract, which that maybe is more manageable than what you just said.
I could, yeah. Honestly, I won't worry about the contract part, but that's what it is. Because what would you ask? What should the Bengals ask if someone calls up and says, "Hey, what do you want for Jamar?"
Right.
You see how dumb that sounds? It sounds just as dumb on the other side of it. What do you want for Justin? It's a lot. It is a lot, and it doesn't make sense. As fun as it would be, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was a bit of a
Chase,
Bengals fan base social media rumor that went wild.
I will say this. I am curious to see if and when Tyler Boyd agrees to a deal with Pittsburgh. Kind of makes sense here. They trade Deontay Johnson. I think he might be going back home. Maybe not. Maybe he goes elsewhere. That's one thing. How close is DJ to Geno? Geno's different. Geno's just insane. But he's more of a 3-tech pass rush. Not as much of a nose. Obviously, he was disruptive in the run game. He did everything. But DJ Reader, really, if you wanted the best interior line in ever, you would want Geno Atkins next to DJ Reader. DJ Reader's that nose tackle that's just going to eat up double teams, take up space, free up the linebackers, free up guys around him. And he's not going to have a ton of counting stats, but he's going to get some pass rush as well and make life hard on opposing offenses. He's a problem. And that's why the Lions want him going full circle. I think if he gets on the plane, the medicals check out, he'll sign with the Lions. I think if he doesn't get on the plane, it's because the Bengals make a move and they say, hey, we are not going to lose DJ Reader.
Is he ready by week 1?
Oh, man.
I know.
It's really hard to say this soon. I know
you're not paying him to be ready by week 1, by the way, right? I mean, you're paying him to be ready for, let's call it the season. Not 17 games, but the season, right?
Sure. Can he be ready by October 1?
Right. Like, is he going to do enough to make that season meaningful and impact it? That doesn't necessarily mean he's ready by week 1.
Yeah, I think it's tough. That's a huge dilemma too. Like, it just is. Like, all of it needs to be taken into consideration. And I think they want to keep DJ Reader. Are they willing to move mountains to do so? Or close plane doors and not let him on said plane? That's the question mark. And that's what we will have to follow. So let's wrap this up. Last call for questions.
I'm gonna roll
here.
through a few quick things. I
fire.
do think there's something that we definitely have overlooked here. And one of these, both, I should say, but you love yourself some Mekhi Becton, but I wanted to throw this up there. Let's talk about the 2 different position groups here for a moment.
Yeah, I think Mekhi Becton is someone the Bengals really like. We'll see, but I think he fits their age. Obviously, draft profile has had some injury history. Frank Pollock knows him well. He's the type of guy they could target. And if I'm the Bengals, I try to get him for a 2-year deal, not a 1-year deal. He probably would want a 1-year prove it deal. To me, if you could sign him for 2 years, sell him on the idea of either playing tackle here, being a swing, depending on what happens, but reuniting with Frank Pollock, I would try to do that. So I think there is real interest there. We'll see if it can get done.
How about let's go with
nothing else on Kendall Fuller, by the way. I saw the report, obviously, that they're interested in Fuller.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I think it's hard for them to pull the trigger right now, not knowing what they're doing with DJ Reader.
I want to bring this one up, actually. There's 2 pieces from a perspective of safety, right? One, let's go with this one for a moment. There's been a couple of Nick Scott questions, but I think this is the simplest way to approach this question itself.
Yes, the answer is yes. And that's why last night, obviously the Bengals agreed to terms with Zach Moss. The reason they were cutting Mixon so quickly is to do him a solid, is to get him back on the market so he could find a job. With Nick Scott, I think it's pretty simple. He is under contract. It's not a crazy contract. And so I do think they end up cutting him, but they don't have to yet. It wouldn't shock me if they look around just to see what else is out there at safety, because it's such a deep safety market. Like Vonn Bell's just sitting there. Like what's it cost to get Vonn Bell? I don't know.
Well, I'm wondering that.
Oh,
there's a comment right there. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that there was interest, and I wonder how much interest there still is after the Geno Stone. They're completely different safeties, by the way. But you have Battle, you have Dax, you have Stone. Tyson Anderson is coming back from the ACL. And then you have Nick Scott. Is Nick Scott the guy that you want to keep? Or is that what they're looking to potentially replace now, where they knew they needed a Geno Stone, and he's not necessarily replacing Nick Scott. He's adding to a room that they knew they needed it at, and maybe Vonn Bell could replace Nick Scott. I think that part is interesting. Would not shock me, but it depends on Bell's market. But 1 year, couple $1 million, wouldn't shock me, and I do think the Bengals are open to it.
I do want to point out this. I know it's a different position group, but we talk about the defensive line in general. But Myles Murphy, we don't talk about him a whole lot. I shouldn't say that. We've talked about him plenty on this channel, but from a frequency compared to other players, I do think he comes up a lot when we talk about, especially leading into the draft. I mean, first round draft pick in 2023. So, what are your thoughts on Myles Murphy quickly?
I think they better upgrade that interior so Myles can cook. Right. And part of it is Sam Hubbard's going to have to kick inside a little bit.
Yes.
I just think that needs to happen. And part of how Myles can get in the game is show that he can set the edge, much like Sam does in the run game, and be that effective. Everyone focuses on the pass rush, and that's awesome because he does need to be a high-end pass rusher. That's why they drafted him. But to kick Sam inside and to make it Myles Murphy on one side and Trey Hendrickson on the other, with Sam going up against guards and centers, well, you're going to want to make sure that Myles Murphy's going to hold up in the run game. Not that he can't, not that that's a concern. I just want to point that out, that it's not just about pass rush, that he's also got to be solid against the run. And I think he's going to be good. I think he's a smart kid. I think he's a hard worker. I think he'll be fine.
Sorry, I was actually trying to save or cue this Joseph Osai question, but it's been on display for a while, so I might as well quickly address this.
Yeah, Joseph Osai is someone that was kind of in the doghouse, it felt like, and Lou Anarumo went out of his way to mention him at the combine when asking about Myles Murphy. I asked about Myles, and he said Joseph Osai too is someone that he's looking forward to seeing. He's healthy, isn't rehabbing something. Contract year for Osai, was really high on Osai going into last year, and it obviously didn't work out. Gets hurt in the final preseason game, was out there, which clearly meant that the Bengals staff thought that he needed to be out there. And so we'll see if he can develop and take the next step, but it would certainly be nice to help this pass rush.
All right. We're at 33 minutes. I want to quickly, this isn't even so much, some of these are questions, but most of these are comments. I'm going to flash up a number of them because there's a lot here. And this is going to be rapid fire. First of all, you mentioned at the top of this, right?
Laser.
And this isn't even like, I'm sitting here, I'm wearing contacts right now that are curling up under my eyelids. James got LASIK done, and he's trying to push me into doing it. That's why we ran an ad today about it. And look, if you're interested in it, know about it. But maybe I'll do something. I don't know. Should I film it if I do it? Not the procedure, but like the experience, because I have no idea what I would be getting into.
LASIKplus.com/James-Rapine. $1,100 off, Andrew.
Pinned in the live chat.
That's all you have to do. You could go there and get $1,100 off, Andrew. I'm not talking all the
$1,100 off means nothing when I just need to decide if I want that done to me. That's all I'm saying.
It takes 5 minutes.
It was honestly, I understand, but then I got to take a nap for 4 hours. I don't know what's going on, James. You're confusing me with this.
Oh, wow. Take a nap.
I don't
almost
nap.
Midnight.
Can you imagine? You're like, we got to go live. DJ Reader might be flying to Detroit. Why are you napping right now for 4 hours?
We just wouldn't have a thumbnail. It would look like a 4-year-old drew the thumbnail. That's all. DJ Reader would be a stick man. And he's he's like the biggest human on the planet, not a stick man.
Okay. All right. Chris Bob's still in the game. Dude, Chris brought this up. It was one of the first comments that was in here. He's still here in the live chat. Appreciate you. By the way, this is an older one too, early on. This one just amused me because of when we talked about the Justin Jefferson rumors, the fact that people are like spreading rumors about Burrow's girlfriend, like talking about stuff. Like this is the level of like tracking people that is funny to me.
That was all dumb.
I know it wasn't real.
I hate that went on. No, obviously it wasn't real. It was also dumb. That was dumb.
It's not the first time it's happened either, by the way.
No, it's dumb. That's all I'm saying about it.
This is not dumb, by the way. This is pure fact. And I know Derek Davis didn't mean this, but I feel like this is a follow-up to that comment about me, which I appreciate, Derek Davis. I know what you were going for there. I'm going to flash these up as we go through. Thank you for everyone. Like, honestly, like, people appreciating the fact that we're doing this. Like, we love doing this, obviously, but the fact that you're getting something out of it, I appreciate just the comments and getting that feedback. I don't even know what this means, by the way, but I saved it, and here we are looking at this comment. I don't even know what to say.
No ring.
I mean, like, no, the answer is obviously no. Why was this even asked is what I'm sitting here looking at it for.
You actually got a ring for the AFC champion. You'll get a ring.
Yeah. Where is it at? It's
he got a ring. He's a season ticket holder.
Yeah, he's season ticket holders. If you're a season ticket holder, you know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know if this is a comment, by the way, that we didn't notify, but we probably ran out of notifications, so we were just busy.
Bell, real quick.
Oh, Vonn Bell.
Likely? Yeah. What's more likely?
We're speaking in code.
Or Vonn Bell. Vonn Bell by far. I don't think Justin Simmons is even remotely. They already got their Justin Simmons. It was Geno Stone. They prefer Geno. Like, that's what they want. Now, could they go after Vonn Bell still? I think so. If the money's right, I would not be shocked if he ends up here in Cincinnati. You can't move Murphy to defensive tackle. You could play him inside a little bit. He's an edge guy. That's what he is. That's how he's built. So limited. Even Sam Hubbard, I say move him inside. That's in just certain packages. Most of the time, he's still going to play end, but it does help you, especially on some passing downs. The entire draft doesn't hinge on Reader.
I was going to throw that one up there. Like, let's address that quickly.
Relax. See, I was going to make a joke, but I'm not trying to take a shot at Zach. So, look, I think they can pivot. Eric Armstead would be interesting. Certainly, T.R. Tart, and to me, it would be Tart, and then you're like, okay, well, Sheldon Rankins. Like, if you could get Tart, Rankins, and B.J. Hill, that works. Like, that trio works. Is it as thick as DJ Reader? Do you feel as good about it in run defense? No, you don't. And so you do have to address that. But I wouldn't feel awful about their defensive line if they went that route, because you're talking about 3 proven vets.
What do you say? I don't want to speak.
Tartan Rankins. No, we're good. Tartan Rankins, Armstead. I do think, and I remind all of you, we're about to wrap up here. I remind all of you always, ring the bell. Please hit that subscribe button, by the way. We got 735 of you in here. I know not all of you are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, because if the Bengals re-sign DJ Reader tomorrow at 7 a.m, I will have been up for 2.5 hours already. I will scream at Andrew, and we will have a video up with instant reaction. There's no one else doing that. I promise you, there is no one else doing that. And so whether it's DJ Reader,
live stream on my phone while I'm waking up,
it doesn't. I'm looking at these guys. Whether it's DJ Reader, Mekhi Becton, TR Tart, whether they go after. Insert whoever you want them to go after over the next few days, weeks, whatever the case is. We're going to have it, and we're going to have reaction to it. So that's why you subscribe and ring the bell. No truth to the Justin Jefferson stuff. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. He's Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapine. We really appreciate you. And we'll see if DJ Reader gets on the plane. We're going to have you covered every step of the way right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.
Get some sleep, James. Don't wait.